Hello to all students, I am Professor Masood Fuzail. Today we are going to discuss a renal supply and blood supply to the kidneys. As you know that kidneys are very important organs of our body which cleans up the blood and form urine. Kidneys are 1% of the body mass, but they receive maximum amount of blood with each heartbeat, which is 20%. Usually kidney make 1% of the body mass while they receive 20%, which is the most supply of blood with each heartbeat. And reason for that is because their function is very important to clean the blood from all toxins and waste material. So that is why it has more supply than all other body organs of the body. So let's discuss in detail how the blood is supplied to different parts of the kidney. But first of all, we have to review the structure of a cross section of a human kidney. So let's look at the diagram. A kidney has two sides, convex side, concave side. It has two portions inside. The outer portion is known as renal cortex, while the inner portion is known as renal medulla. Renal medulla contain pyramid-shaped structure which are known as renal pyramids, which contain nephrons. Usually 1 million nephrons are found in each kidney, and the central part is known as renal pelvis, and which opens into a duct known as ureter. The other major parts of the kidney we already had studied in previous lecture. So today we are going to emphasize especially on the blood supply to the kidney. So on the concave side of the kidney, there is a depression which is known as renal hilum or renal hilus, from where blood vessels, ureter and nerves enter and exit the kidney. So if you look at right over here, the blood vessel which is known as renal artery originated from descending aorta and enters into the kidney, right and left kidney. So renal artery enters into the kidney where it divides and subdivides into segmental artery. As you can see right over here, this is the segmental artery. This segmental artery again divide and subdivide into interlobular arteries. Interlobular arteries radiate in space between the two renal pyramids and then goes around the renal pyramid and form an arcuate artery. Arcuate artery then divide into radiate arteries, cortical radiate, as you can see right over here. Cortical radiate artery then divides into afferent arteriole, which leads into a tuft of capillaries which is known as glomerulus, and glomerulus then divides into efferent arteriole. Efferent arterioles then divides into peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries join together to form venules. Venules join to form veins, and veins ultimately join to form renal vein, which exits the blood from the kidney. So how this happens? So in this diagram it is very difficult to see the total blood supply. So I have taken another diagram so that we can make a better concept of this blood supply. So I have taken a renal pyramid from renal medulla right over here. In this diagram you can see in the center that is a renal pyramid which contain usually the nephrons, and this is the cortical region of the kidney. This is the medullary region of the nephron. So when renal artery enters into the kidney and divides into segmental artery, then it subdivide into interlobular artery. This is the interlobular artery which is going towards the cortical region of the kidney. When it reaches into the cortical region of the kidney, it divides into arcuate artery which surround the renal pyramid from the broader part. This arcuate artery divide and subdivide into cortical radiate artery. As you can see right over here, this is cortical radiate artery. Cortical radiate artery then divides into afferent arteriole, which is a smaller segment of the arteries, and afferent arteriole then divides into a group of capillaries known as glomerulus, which is surrounded by Bowman capsule of the nephron. There are two types of nephron in the kidney: cortical nephrons, which are located in the cortical region of the kidney; juxtamedullary nephron, which are located deep into the medulla. These nephrons are specialized in formation of concentrated urine during summer season when there is a shortage of water. So both of these nephrons contain a cup-shaped cavity which is known as glomerulus, which contain blood tuft of blood capillaries which is known as glomerulus, where filtration takes place and waste materials are removed from the blood. After filtration and reabsorption, this glomerulus, a blood vessel arises which is known as efferent artery, which exits the Bowman's capsule. Efferent arteriole then divides into peritubular capillaries which surrounds the peritubular area of the nephron, and it forms a structure which is known as cortical radiate vein. Cortical radiate vein, as you can see right over here, which is in the blue form, then joins to form arcuate vein. Arcuate vein then joins together to form interlobular vein. Interlobular vein then takes this blood to renal vein, from where blood exits from the kidney. So to understand this whole mechanism in more easy way, I have made a scheme for you so that you can remember all this process. So first of all, we are going to start with renal artery. As you know that renal artery is the main blood vessel which is supplying blood to the kidney, which divides into segmental arteries. As you can see right over here, segmental arteries. Segmental arteries divide and subdivide into interlobular arteries. Interlobular arteries reach into the medulla region between the renal pyramids. As you can see right over here, this is interlobular artery, and right over here interlobular artery. Interlobular arteries then divides into arcuate arteries. As you can see right over here, this is arcuate artery, and over here you can also see arcuate arteries. Arcuate arteries then divides into branches which are known as cortical radiate artery in the cortical region of the kidney. These are cortical radiate arteries. Cortical radiate arteries then divide into afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole is the smaller portion of the artery, and afferent mean to bring in towards nephron. So that is why these are known as afferent arterioles, which form a group of capillaries, tuft of capillaries, which is known as glomerulus, which is surrounded by the Bowman's capsule of the nephron, where process of filtration takes place. After the process of filtration, blood capillaries join together to form efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole is a small artery which exits from the nephron. Efferent arteriole then change into peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries are present on the surface of the nephron to do reabsorption vital important chemicals from the Bowman's filtrate. Or after reabsorption, peritubular capillaries become cortical radiate vein. As you can see right over here, this is a blue color, cortical radiate vein. This cortical radiate vein collect bloods and pour into arcuate vein. As you can see right over here, this is arcuate vein, which leads into interlobular vein. As you can see right over here and right over here, interlobular veins join together to form a renal vein, and renal vein take this blood and exits the kidney and move blood towards the body, and this way the blood circulation has completed in kidney. I hope it makes sense, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye.